So I found out today, stating that he's asked him for an extension period because he's injured before being ordered to do anything.
Things happen in life. It's not just boxing, in life. You got to adapt, you got to adjust, and you got to go forward no matter what. So I want to go forward, and hopefully he recovers.
Yeah, I'm not having that. So let's wait and see. If it's true, that's a shame. We'd love to get to the bottom of it, but I'd heard this.
The symbolism was hard to miss. Wardley's decision became a mirror for the modern era of hype-driven boxing, where image and pressure often outweigh resilience. His withdrawal wasn't just a setback. It was a statement on what happens when preparation meets panic. Boxing commentator YB Patreon summed it up with brutal precision. Fabio's last-minute pullout isn't inconvenient. It's humiliating. He said, "Boxing isn't just about power. It's about integrity. Fighters are expected to honor their commitments." The timing of Wardley's decision, so close to the first bell, stripped away any sympathy the official explanation might have earned. 4 months of Parker's preparation vanished overnight.
His camp have written to the asked him for a period of time to before they have to defend the title. So we will see what happens.
Fans who had invested emotionally and financially felt cheated. The story of the fight had morphed into the story of the withdrawal, and once that happens, reputations rarely recover. YB's conclusion cut deep but true. In boxing, reliability is as important as strength. Fabio's reliability just got shattered. And that may be the ultimate tragedy of
anything. It was, well, we knew half an hour ago. You probably noticed I've been on the phone running back and forth.
The whole saga. For all of Wardley's promise, all the hype and all the build-up, it wasn't his power, his speed, or his skill that defined the moment. It was his absence. The night that should have marked his arrival instead became a defining moment of doubt.
Depends on what it's worth. Is it worth the title? Is it worth whatever? But that actually surprises me sometimes. So I don't actually believe that's him because
Joseph Parker, ever the professional, returned to training the next morning, his disappointment hidden behind quiet determination. But for Fabio Wardley, the battle now isn't about belts or opponents. It's about rebuilding a reputation that may never fully recover. The fallout.
Pissed off. I mean, he was a big fight. He's trained very hard. If you don't fight, you don't get paid. You imagine the cost involved in a training camp. Booking places to set the camp up, bringing the sparring partners in, the nutritionists, the chefs, trainers, and everybody, and you don't get paid. It's a massive loss. You can't insure it, or if you do, it costs a fortune to insure. But very, very.
Fabio Wardley's withdrawal and the battle beyond the ring. What followed was chaos. Within hours of the announcement, social media turned into a battlefield. Rumors of poisoning, contractual disputes, and even sabotage flooded timelines. It became a frenzy of
quit. I mean, in a way, though, not quit like walking out the ring. Quit off like, you know what? I'm just gonna try and survive.
Misinformation, each theory wilder than the last. Amid the noise, boxing analyst Johnny Nelson tried to steady the discourse. "Let's stick to facts," Nelson said firmly. "The man withdrew. That's what we know." But how and why matters more than the noise. Even Nelson admitted, however, that the situation had already...
Fortunately, there is going to be, there needs to be an inquiry straight after this, why, what. But that's what I'm hearing. This news is as fresh to me as it is you. I'm quite sure when this goes out, it'll be all over.
Spiraled out of control. Fabio Wardley's absence had become more than a headline. It was a meme, a scandal, and a symbol of mental fragility in a sport built on resilience. Every denial, every clarification only spawned more questions. The truth, whatever...
I didn't expect him to do, right? Okay, he was favoured to win. Most of us thought he'd find a way.
It was now buried beneath speculation and skepticism. Then came Duke McKenzie, the former world champion turned analyst, bringing a tactical perspective to the storm. He reminded fans that Wardley's issues didn't begin this week. In his last fight against Justice Hoon, McKenzie noted, "We saw defensive lapses, footwork problems, timing errors. Those cracks were already there." For McKenzie, the withdrawal wasn't simply about physical unwellness. It reflected a deeper lack of readiness. If you've got holes in your game, he continued, and you're about to face someone as polished as Joseph Parker, fear creeps in. Maybe not consciously, but it's there. His assessment reframed the narrative.
I don't like that. People schedule fights and then they pull out, oh, I was injured. Well, if he was injured...
This wasn't just about one night's decision. It was the culmination of technical flaws and mental strain that led to the collapse. Veteran trainer Dave Coldwell echoed what many in the boxing fraternity were thinking. His words cut through the noise. This isn't just a fighter backing out. It's a stain on professionalism. Coldwell didn't attack Wardley personally, but he held him to the sport's sacred standard. Fans spend their hard-earned money. Teams invest months of effort. Pulling out at the 11th hour, whatever the reason, is a slap in the face to everyone involved. Coldwell's tone wasn't cruel. It was weary. He warned that boxing's reputation as a disciplined, honorable sport suffers every time.
Something popped up and said it's fake news that the fight was off and all this sort of stuff was going on about some poisoning, scandal, foolishness, and they tried to shut this thing down. And I'm saying that's fake news. I'm not having that. So let's wait and see. If it's true, that's a shame. We'll love to get to the bottom of it. But I'd heard this yesterday, but I just put it down as fake news. It's not real. So all we can do is react to what we know, so we can speculate.
Fighters act without transparency. Each time this happens, he said, it chips away at the sport's credibility. His words resonated with those who've spent decades building boxing's fragile image of integrity. The irony wasn't lost on Dave Allen, the self-proclaimed people's champ known for joking about quitting fights himself. But this time, his tone turned serious and stung with irony. To see someone talk about greatness and then disappear overnight, it's tragic, Allen said. His sardonic commentary painted the withdrawal not just as a professional failure, but as a tragicomic spectacle. Wardley, once touted as the future, a young lion ready to roar, had become the punchline. Talent without...
Behind in certain areas of his technique, which was proven in his last fight against, was it Hooney?
Justice Hooney.
Justice Hooney, right? Because he was exposed.
He was.
For his boxing skills.
Mental toughness means nothing, Allen reminded fans. His words distilled the painful truth of elite boxing. Skill can make you dangerous, but mindset makes you a champion. Pundits Spencer Oliver and Simon Jordan took the theme of accountability even further. Oliver warned that Wardley's withdrawal set a dangerous precedent. This sport thrives on commitment, he said. If fighters can skip fights without consequence, what message does that send? The collapse before the clash, inside Fabio Wardley's shock withdrawal. A day before the highly anticipated showdown between Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley, chaos erupted. In a stunning twist that sent shockwaves through the boxing world, Wardley pulled out of the fight. The announcement detonated like a bomb. Fans were furious. Parker's camp was blindsided, and critics instantly began questioning whether this was truly an injury or a calculated escape from a dangerous opponent. For weeks, Wardley had radiated confidence.
To be honest, I feel as though the sport needs... We always used to take the piss. When I was younger, I remember cycling had such a bad reputation, everybody being a cheat.
He spoke of destiny, of dominance, of taking the heavyweight division by storm. Yet mere hours before fight night, everything fell apart. Word spread of a sudden illness, of doctors assessing him, but the details were vague and contradictory. Behind closed doors, panic brewed. Was Wardley really unfit or simply unready for the storm Joseph Parker was bringing? Promoter Frank Warren rushed to take control of the narrative. "It's something we only knew half an hour ago," he said, his tone tight, composed but strained. "You've probably noticed I've been on the phone running back and forth? It's a sudden medical issue." His explanation, while calm, did little to mask the chaos behind the scenes. Warren's polished delivery couldn't hide the truth. This was not how things were meant to unfold. With just one day to go, Parker was left stranded, trained, focused, and ready, but without an opponent. The outrage from fans was immediate and intense.
You know what? It's horrific to say I've quit. It's not horrific to say I'm quit. I'm chairman of the quit committee. I'm top quitter, I guess. Anyway.
Warren tried to frame the situation as a tragic twist of fate, but instead, his words only highlighted the cracks within Wardley's camp. What was meant to be a celebration of heavyweight grit had turned into a public unraveling. Then came Spencer Brown's revelations, and everything worsened. While Warren attempted to steady the ship, Brown pulled back the curtain on the behind-the-scenes meltdown. He spoke of missed calls, frantic messages, and desperate scrambling within Wardley's team. The image that emerged wasn't one of a man felled by sudden illness, but one of confusion and collapse. According to Brown, this was not a fighter undone by health, but by pressure. The contrast between Warren's calm defense and Brown's chaotic account deepened the damage. Wardley's credibility took a devastating blow. The whispers began. Maybe he didn't truly want this fight. In a sport that reveres courage and punishes hesitation, such
I've always been strong on that. I've always been strong on the fact that I don't believe in giving them a second chance.
You're basically saying no 3 strikes and you're out.
No 3 strikes.
2 strikes and you're out.
No.
1, you fail a test and gone ski.
Absolutely, because I just believe then that moving forward, people would think twice about doing it. If they think, well, you know what, I'll get a second chance anyway, you know.
Murmurs can haunt a career. Boxing analyst Johnny Nelson didn't mince words. Fabio Wardley may have an excuse, he said, but the optics are brutal. He captured what everyone was thinking, that regardless of medical explanations, the image projected was one of doubt. For Nelson, this wasn't just a scheduling issue. It was a credibility crisis. Boxing, he said, is unforgiving. Fans know when something doesn't add up. Meanwhile, Parker's camp remained outwardly composed but visibly furious. Weeks of disciplined training, thousands spent on preparation, and the emotional toll of anticipation, all wiped away in an instant. Nelson even called for an inquiry, demanding accountability not just from Wardley, but from the management that allowed the situation to implode so publicly. Boxing doesn't need more excuses, he said. It needs clarity and professionalism. Then, as always, Derek Chisora stepped into the...
He wants to do. He wants to fight the best guy available. He was ready to fight the best guy available, the world champion. So give me the next best guy. Well, this guy, you sure? I mean, you want it? Yeah.
Fray. Never one for subtlety, Chisora declared bluntly that Wardley hadn't simply withdrawn. He had folded. That wasn't a medical pullout, he scoffed. That was a mental surrender. For Chisora, this was about heart, the unspoken rule that a true fighter shows up no matter what. His words struck a chord with fans, who flooded social media with anger and disbelief. To them, Wardley's decision wasn't about safety, it was about survival. And in heavyweight boxing, survival doesn't earn you respect. Frank Warren later spoke again, this time outlining the scale of the fallout. The damage wasn't just personal, it was financial, reputational, and emotional. Weeks of marketing, ticket sales, and media commitments had gone up in smoke. Every stakeholder, from Parker's team to the event organizers, faced massive losses. But perhaps the most severe loss was intangible. Trust. In boxing, a fighter's reputation is his currency.
I mean, a lot of people like to see all this rubbish, they think it's all like this stage, which it's not. It is unnecessary. We have a good fight. We've got a fight these two guys' styles will complement each other. It'll be an absolute complete war.
And Wardley's had just taken a staggering hit. As the dust settled, analysts across the sport began dissecting the implosion. Veteran commentator Adam Smith voiced disbelief. Wardley, he reminded fans, had entered this fight as the favorite, young, strong, and full of promise. For him to walk away at the final moment, Smith said, shatters the entire narrative. He added a sobering truth. The biggest battles in boxing aren't fought in the ring. They're fought in the mind. Wardley's withdrawal, Smith argued, wasn't just a tactical mistake. It was a psychological collapse. What was supposed to be his crowning moment of legitimacy had turned into a cautionary tale about the crushing weight of expectation.